Thank you candidates of Reading Part 2 for contributing to our discussion for Module 2, Assessment and Learning. Here are some key ideas from this learning experience. Focus on teaching to the student. Therefore, we need to administer a variety of assessment tools using a variety of strategies. These tools and strategies should be coupled with clear and thoughtfully communicated learning targets and success criteria. Wherever possible, these learning goals and criteria for success should be co-created with students. Assessment should be with the intent of learning more about what is needed to make students successful, to support metacognition and goal setting, and to discover where they are performing in terms of the achievement chart. Instruction and assessment should be authentic, hands-on, and engaging. It is important to differentiate not only your instructional strategies but also your assessment strategies. There is a fundamental importance placed on building assessment tools and supports, that is learning targets, success criteria, rubrics, checklists, anchors, exemplars with students. This helps build ownership and a shared understanding of a common goal. However, the means by which the goal is reached will vary for each student. Co-creation can start off by brainstorming criteria/requirements for a task, categorize them, build rubrics or checklist with appropriate language descriptors, show exemplars to students, have them articulate why one assignment might meet the requirements while another does not. 3 forms of assessment: diagnostic, formative, and summative. Diagnostic provides you with what prior knowledge a student has, and helps to develop your instructional plan. Formative assessment tells you how effective instructional approaches have been. Finally, summative assessment provides you with a level of achievement based on the Ministry of Education's achievement chart. Connected with the 3 forms of assessment, there are 3 main purposes or reasons for assessment. In classrooms where assessment for learning is practiced, students know at the outset of a unit of study what they are expected to learn. At the beginning of the unit, the teacher will work with the student to understand what she or he already knows about the topic, as well as to identify any gaps or misconceptions. As the unit progresses, the teacher and student work together to assess the student's knowledge, what she or he needs to learn to improve and extend this knowledge, and how the student can best get to that point. Assessment for learning occurs at all stages of the learning process. Assessment is learning focus on developing deep thinking and reflective learners. Learners that can self-evaluate, set goals and make steps towards achievement of those goals. It is a metacognitive process. Articulating why and how an exemplar or artifact meets success criteria would be an example of assessment as learning. Lastly, the smallest portion of the reconfigured assessment pyramid is assessment of learning. This is where the teacher assesses the student at the end of a learning experience and looks for indicators of achievement. Assessment of learning most closely relates to summative assessment. Some other considerations when planning for assessment. Give students choice when it comes to assessment. Think of multiple intelligences when designing and developing assessment, so focus less on assessment of learning and more on assessment as learning. Provide students with timely, precise, focused and descriptive effective feedback. This can be done using one-to-one conferences or in writing. What are some ways to effectively involve and engage parents? Perhaps newsletters, phone calls, invitations to the classroom, for example, poetry party, literacy nights, etc. Find links between reading and other subject areas and try to connect with real-world examples so that learning is authentic and has meaning for them. Developing global critical thinkers is an important skill for our 21st century learners. How can we collaborate to support student achievement? When emphasis is placed on collaboration and student achievement, teacher moderation will become more common. Teacher moderation or collaborative marking leads to common goals, common language, and common assessments. This is also important for parent communication. Keep in mind your end goal. We should be focused on student success and supporting our learners, and this is done in part by quality assessment practices. I am looking forward to hearing your insights as we move into LE3, equity and differentiation.